Hey, Laura, where the heck are you right now? There's no need for me to tell you. That's impossible. Look, this eyes, Katie's portrait, and even hern. It seemed my husband and sister rushed back to the States earlier than planned after hearing the news from me. What the two saw when they hurriedly returned home was Katie's funeral. I'm Laura, a 34-year-old housewife. I've been with my husband Archie since college. After dating for 7 years, we got married and now have a 5-year-old daughter named Leah. Archie often works late, leaving me and Leah alone till late night. I'm always swamped with house chores and taking care of Leah. Life was routine until my younger sister Linda started visiting us frequently. Up until now, no matter how many times I asked her to come and visit me, she would simply refuse me, saying, "I'm too busy to take care of my daughter." At first, I assumed she needed a break from her housewife role. However, I began to notice a pattern. Linda would only come when Archie was home and spent most of her time chatting with him. I tried to brush it off as them just being close. Still, I couldn't help but feel their closeness was excessive. As expected, I, who has been called insensitive by people around me for a long time, began to feel suspicious, so I checked my husband's smartphone while he was sleeping. To my surprise, there was a folder packed with photos of Linda and my husband together. Among them, there were pictures of them in bed, with barely anything on, hugging each other. I was so angry I wanted to wake Archie up and confront him right then and there, but we have a daughter together. Not wanting to create a scene because of Archie's infidelity and thinking about our daughter, I somehow managed to suppress my explosive anger. However, now that I knew, I couldn't pretend I didn't. Instead of confronting Archie, I gently told Linda, "I'm sorry, I'd rather you not come to our house anymore." When I did, the words that came back from my younger sister were, "What? Are you jealous because you think your hubby might get stolen?" What's more, the fact she said it with a half smile on her face made me realize I was quite upset without even noticing. "You've already stolen him. Oh my. Did you notice? Why not just divorce him? I'll have him." "Stop joking. I'm serious. Don't you realize that you're becoming an old lady? What? Just look at yourself. Even when Archie's home, you don't wear makeup or dress up. You're turning into an old woman. I'm busy looking after our young daughter and doing all the housework. I don't have time to worry about myself. I have a daughter younger than Leah too, you know. You see how I'm all dolled up with makeup and looking stylish, right? That's probably because your husband does all the housework for you, isn't it? Oh, here come the excuses. What did you say? Keep getting angry like that and you'll get even more wrinkles. You're just speeding up the process of becoming an old woman." The more she said, the more I realized she was just trying to provoke me. Sure, if I had a husband like Linda's, who did all the housework and child care, I'd also have time for myself. But that's not the case in our home. Just because I'm a housewife, Archie leaves his socks everywhere, doesn't put away his bag, and doesn't even bring his used dishes to the kitchen. Every day, I run around cleaning up after him and taking care of our daughter, who bumps into furniture and cries. How on earth does she claim to have time in such a busy life to spend just for herself like a younger sister? What my sister was saying was, quite frankly, a pat on her own back, but by now, she must have realized why I didn't want her coming over. Still, she didn't stop visiting. Instead, ever since that day, she became even bolder, getting cozy with Archie right in front of me. Every day was a struggle to keep my temper in check. It was on one of those days. Out of the blue, my husband decided to take paid time off from work and announced he wanted to go on a 5-night, 6-day trip to Guam. I was momentarily hopeful it might be a family trip with our daughter and me, but then, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, he said, "I'm going with Linda. In the meantime, you should also take good care of Linda's daughter, Katie." Without even looking at me, my husband said this and began making a call. The person he gleefully dialed was, of course, my sister, Linda. Even though I was right there listening, he excitedly started sharing the news. "Hey, Linda, I got the time off, so look forward to the trip to Guam next week." "Huh, sounds great. I just got my bonus, so feel free to buy lots of souvenirs. Yeah, I told Laura to look after Katie, so you can leave her without any worries. It's fine. Laura's only good for housework and taking care of the kids anyway. Hearing that, I felt like bursting into tears and quickly dashed to the bathroom. I didn't want my husband to see me cry. I had reached my breaking point with being looked down upon like this. I had endured so much, hoping our daughter would grow up with both her parents, but I couldn't stand being trampled upon any longer, both as a wife and as a human being. If I become servile because of my husband and sister like this, how would I feel if Leah grew up seeing me who could only put up with being oppressed? I felt a surge of determination to stand up for myself. I didn't want our daughter to see her mother being mistreated and think it's okay to endure such things. I realized it was time to take a stand. From that day on, I started preparing while Archie was at work. I visited a lawyer with the evidence of his affair, which I had transferred to my computer. I talked to both our parents and my in-laws about the situation and what I planned to do. I also found a job and a new apartment, and on the day Archie and Linda left for their trip, I waved them off with a big smile. During that time, I took care of my sister Linda's daughter, Katie, and something seemed off. It had been since Linda gave birth to Katie that I had last seen her, so I was shocked at how thin Katie had become, being just a year older than my daughter. The clothes she was wearing were too small and looked as if they hadn't been washed in ages. Her hair was all sweaty and sticky, and parts of her skin were dark with dirt. Having a warm meal, taking a warm bath, and sleeping in a cozy bed seemed like luxuries to her. It seems that such a normal thing was not a matter of course, and when I served freshly cooked rice on the first day, he looked at my complexion and did not even try to eat it. When I gave her a bath, her body was covered in bruises. Unaware of my shock, she happily exclaimed, "I never knew baths could be this warm." It seemed like she was always given cold baths, and when I washed her hair and body, she looked puzzled, asking, "What are you doing?" She probably hadn't been bathed properly before. After the bath, when I changed her into pajamas, Katie was overjoyed. "Cute clothes. Can I really wear these?" "Yes, honey. I bought them especially for you." "Oh, thank you. I can't believe someone like me gets something so nice." Once again, I was taken aback. I couldn't believe a 4-year-old would be so mature in expressing gratitude. Even my almost 5-year-old daughter could barely say thank you. While my daughter was at preschool, I decided to ask Katie about her home life. Given how different her reactions were from my daughter's, I could only think of one possibility. "Hey, Katie. Yis. How's life at home? Does your dad take care of you?" "And no. I'm always alone." "Alone? Yeah. My mom and dad are always away." "Do you know what they're doing?" "I don't know. But every time they come home, they get mad at me." "I'd rather be alone." "I see." I couldn't bring myself to ask her any more questions. There was no doubt in my mind. It's clear that Katie has been neglected by my sister and brother-in-law. No, even worse than that. Apparently, she had been crying without me knowing, and it was Katie who quietly handed me a nearby cloth. Katie, with a sad look on her face, asked me, "Are you hurt somewhere? Are you okay?" I'm fine. Just got something in my eye." Despite being so young, and probably having faced more hardships than me, Katie was more concerned about me than herself. I couldn't help but embrace her small frame. Katie looked at me with a puzzled expression. She probably hadn't been hugged like this before. I faced Katie and asked her seriously, "If you're okay with it, would you like to be my daughter from today?" Really?" "Of course. Do you like staying with Auntie and Leah?" "Yes. I love it, even more than my dad and mom, way more." Katie beamed with joy and spread her arms wide to show her happiness. When I hugged her small frame again, this time Katie hesitated but eventually hugged me back. From there, my actions were swift. I took Katie to the hospital to get a medical report for her injuries, and then reported my sister and brother-in-law's child neglect to Child Welfare Services. I immediately went to a law firm to discuss custody of Katie and filed a petition with the court. By evening, I had moved to a new apartment with Leah and Katie. My sister called from her vacation, oblivious and cheerfully. Without any clue about what had transpired, she chirped, "Hey sis, everything good? You taking care of things? What do you want?" "I'm sunbathing on the beach right now and was just killing time." "Oh really? Thanks for taking care of Katie. You're so carefree, even when I say your daughter has passed away. What? What did you just say? Your daughter Katie is gone. Come on, stop joking around. If you think so, check it out for yourself when you get home. Wait a sec. Ignoring my visibly shaken sister, I hung up the phone. The next afternoon, when my cell phone rang loudly, I answered it, pretending to be unaware. Furious yelling could be heard from the other end. Hey, Laura, where the heck are you right now? There's no need for me to tell you. That's impossible. Look, this eyes, Katie's portrait, and even her urn. It seemed my husband and sister rushed back to the States earlier than planned after hearing the news from me. What the two saw when they hurriedly returned home was Katie's funeral. There, my parents, dressed in black and wiping away tears with handkerchiefs, were present, as were my in-laws. What's going on? I told you to properly take care of Katie, didn't I? I'll sue you for this. Shut up. Eek. The one who yelled even louder was my mill. My husband and sister let out a short scream and shrank back. We heard everything from Laura. What are you talking about? My parents reprimanded my feigning sister. You didn't properly take care of Katie, did you? No, that's not true. I did take care of her properly. If you had, this wouldn't have happened. First of all, where were you guys during all this? We were on, it was a business trip. Oh, so Archie, Laura's husband, took Linda, Laura's sister, instead of Laura. We're family. What's wrong with that? You two seem to be very close for just family. My Phil said as he scattered a pile of photos showing their affair that I had handed over in advance. Seeing this, my husband and sister froze, their eyes wide in shock. Realizing they couldn't make any more excuses, they both remained silent. So, I decided to speak to them. Take a look inside the urn. Hearing my words, my husband and sister exchanged glances and hesitantly reached for the urn. When they peered inside, they pulled out a piece of paper with a shocked expression. This is a divorce paper. Where are the ashes? That's in place of her ashes. Huh? What do you mean? That means Katie, Linda's daughter, is dead. No, but this. As my sister was speaking, Katie approached my side. Mom, let's make some cookies with Leah. Sure, honey, just give me a moment, okay? Katie, wait, she's right there. Katie, she's here. Then she's alive. Katie, Mom's back. Come on, Katie. You're mistaken. What? My real mom is Laura. What are you talking about? Laura is your aunt, and I am your real mom, right? No. My real mom is Laura. Katie, don't casually call my daughter's name. What? I am Katie's mother. I already told you, your daughter Katie passed away. She's not dead. She's right there. The one here was reborn as my daughter, Katie. Legally, Katie is no longer your daughter. What? Then what about the child support? What will happen to it? I was utterly disgusted that the last thing on her mind was money. I realized that there was really no way to save her, and that the anger I had been feeling until now was turning into a feeling of pity. I could feel this change within myself. Taking a deep sigh, I continued. The cops will be here soon, so if you have anything else to say, now is your chance. Just let the police handle it. The police. Both Archie and Lindy exclaimed in disbelief, their voices high-pitched with shock. When things get this messed up, any feelings of love for Archie just vanish. All I feel now is anger and pity. Of course, what you've done to Katie is a straight-up crime. You'll get what's coming to you. Wait, just wait a sec. We didn't do anything that bad. Katie is my daughter after all. That's where you're wrong. She's no longer your daughter. Your husband's probably already at the police station. You should join him. Wait, I've got no part in this, right? You, come here. Taking my cue, my mill silently handed an envelope to Archie. His face turned pale as he opened it and started to sweat even more. Compensation money. For the long-term, malicious infidelity. We're taking this to civil court. Wait, it was all Linda's idea. She pushed me into it. Really? You're the one who took her up on it. I never wanted any of this. Linda forced me into it. I'm the victim here. You're just trying to save your own skin, huh? If one goes down, you both do. This is all your fault. You're the one who made me do it. Laura will understand, right? Right. I don't want to understand. By the way, I've already signed the divorce papers. Now, you just need to sign them and submit them to the city hall. What? You didn't realize? If I'm asking for compensation, obviously I want a divorce. After all this, now divorce. What about our daughter, Leah? Don't worry. I'll raise Leah and Katie just fine on my own. This has to be a nightmare. Face reality. And I'll be asking for the child support up front. That's too much. I mean, I am Heina's father. How can you? Frankly, they're better off without a father like you. You've no right to call yourself a parent, and the same goes for Linda. I don't want either of you showing your faces to our children ever again. It's not true. It's over. Oh God. Afterwards, the police, alerted by our parents, rushed over and took the two of them to the station. My husband faced civil charges, while my sister faced both criminal and civil charges. Although my sister was given probation, you know, you can't shut people up, and the incident became the talk of the town. I divorced my husband, who was sentenced to jail. I heard they had a falling out after some disagreements and eventually separated. To pay for the settlement, they had to sell their house, but the money wasn't enough. They tried to seek help from their parents, but were disowned. Somehow, they managed to borrow money to make the payment. Now, they're living in a cheap, run-down apartment and juggling multiple part-time jobs to make ends meet, according to my in-laws. As for me, Leah, and Katie, with the support of our in-laws and parents, we're now living peaceful and harmonious lives. Seeing the innocent, carefree smiles of our daughters, I think to myself, I hope they never grow up to be like those two. What goes